Hello students, let us discuss next periodic property valency, or we can say oxidation state also. So generally here valency. So what is valency? Let us see what is valency here. So generally if you are taking number of hydrogen or chlorine atom or twice the number of oxygen atom with which one atom of element combined. This one we call it as valency. Means what here? The outermost electrons, we can say valency, or we can say oxidation state also, it will be going to exhibit. So means what I have told you here, number of hydrogen or chlorine atom. So for example, hydrogen if you are taking, it is 1. Chlorine atom, it is having at the last electron s2p5. ns2 np5 is the general configuration, that one. Or twice the number of oxygen atoms. So means what? Twice means what here? 2 times if you are taking oxygen atoms, then what will get? You will be getting 16 is the, for example, oxygen atomic weight. So if you take the electronic configuration, you may get 2 or 6. Yes or no? So in which one atom of the element combined. So means what here? If you are taking 2 numbers, so where one atom of the element will combine, we call it as valency. In simple way, what we can say is nothing but here, it is a outermost electron. The outermost electrons we call it as valency. We are going to say here. Okay. So here generally elements in your group show same valency. Elements in your group show same valency. So coming to period. In a period, the valency increases. In a period, what happens? The valency increases unit by unit, we can say. Okay. So here coming to transition elements, what happens? Transition elements and inner transition elements. Transition elements and inner transition, D block and F block, we are going to say D block is known as transition elements. Inner transition elements is nothing but here F block elements. They will show variable valency. Variable valency means different oxidation state. So each element is having different oxidation state, we can say here. So maximum valency of an element is its group number, we can say. So here minimum valency for transition elements, valency is 0 and highest valency is for ruthenium, osmonium, xenon is +8, it will exhibit. So like this it will exhibit different state. If you take in the second period, the highest valency, in the second period, the highest valency for chlorine is, for carbon is 4, and for chlorine and in third period the highest valency for chlorine is 7, we can say. How we are saying 4 and 7? If you take carbon atomic number 6, the electronic configuration, what we can write? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. So this one indicates the valency. So this is also known as oxidation state. So plus 4 indicates oxidation state or valency, the outermost electrons. In the same way, if you take chlorine, so when you are taking chlorine, what is the atomic number here? What is the chlorine atomic number we are going to have? Fluorine is having how much? 9. 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. Chlorine is having 9 plus 8. How much we are having? 17. So atomic number is 17. So you will be getting 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So means what here? This one is having plus 7 oxidation state, or the valency is plus 7, we can say. So here oxidation state is possible when the atom of elements will have different species. Okay, so coming to here, the oxidation state will be positive, negative, fractional, zero. Also we are going to have basing upon it. So what is the oxidation state? Could be positive, negative, zero, and fractional also. Fraction means 1/2, like that also it can show. And coming to here, it based upon which we will be explaining, based on electronic configuration we will be explaining. And electronegativity. Based upon this only, we are going to explain about the oxidation state, that is positive, negative, or zero. So if you have been taken elements of S block and fluorine exhibit different fixed oxidation state, yes or no? And also osmium exhibit high oxidation state of +8, carbon exhibit low oxidation state of -4. So if you have been taking some of the compounds like O2F2, for example, if you want to find for this oxidation state, you are going to take 2x. Why? Because 2 molecules you will be having. And for fluorine, it is having fixed oxidation state, that is -1 you are having. So here no charge is present, we are keeping 0. So 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. 2x is equals to +2, x is equals to +1. So for oxygen, what we have got? +1. So means what here? What, for example, if you want to find oxidation state for oxygen, that's why we have taken this molecule X. Okay. So how many oxygens we are having? 2. Coming to fluorine, 2F we have. So 2 you have written. And fluorine will exhibit fixed oxidation state, that is -1. Okay. So here 2x minus 2 plus into -2. 2x minus 2 will come this side, means +2. So x is equals to +1. So this is the oxidation state for oxygen. And if you have been taken HNO3, so you want to find oxidation state for nitrogen. So for hydrogen, the oxidation state is 1. So 1 into 1 plus 1 into x. Why? Because 1 nitrogen plus 3 into oxygen, 3 oxygens into -2. Oxygen will be having fixed oxidation state, that is -2. We are having no charge. So that's why what we are going to write, 1 plus x minus 6 is equals to 0. Okay. So x minus 5, 1 minus 6 plus 1, 5 is equals to 0. X is equals to +5 is the oxidation state for nitrogen, we can write. In the same way, if you have been taken K2Cr2O7 2 minus, okay, so up to now there is no charges is present, but coming to here in the presence of O7 you are having 2 minus, so means what, you have to find oxidation state for chromium, then 2 into 1 is the oxidation state for potassium, 2 into X plus 7 into minus 2 is equals to minus 2. See, observe clearly, for potassium oxidation state is 1 and for chromium we are finding the oxidation state, that way I have taken X, and 7. Oxygen is having fixed value oxidation state, that is minus 2. Y is equals to minus 2 I have been written, means here minus 2 is the charge is presenting, that's why we have written minus 2 here. Okay, up here no charge, we have kept 0, but here there is a charge, that's why I have kept minus 2. So 2 plus 2x minus 14 is equals to minus 2. Okay, so means what, 2x minus 12 is equals to minus 2. 2x is equals to minus 2 plus 12. 2x is equals to how much? 10. X is equals to 10 by 2. X is equals to plus 5. Oxidation state you are getting. See, 2 into 1, 2. 2x minus 14 is equals to minus 2. 12 you are getting. 12 plus 12. So 12 minus 2, 10. So here you are getting oxidation state as plus 5. So this is the way to find the oxidation state for different atoms. Okay. Sorry. Next one, let us discuss about here electropositivity. What is next one? Electropositivity. Here electronegativity is different, electron affinity is different, electropositivity is different. Okay. Now let us see here. Electropositivity is nothing but here the tendency of an atom. The tendency of an atom to lose an electron is called electropositivity. So what here? Tendency of an atom to lose an electron, we call it as electropositivity, or we can say metallic nature also, or metallic nature we can say here. So alkali metals, alkali elements are highly electropositive we can say. So what is electropositivity? Whenever it is losing the atom is losing an electron, we call it as electropositivity or metallic nature. So alkali metal is nothing but what? Group 1A. In S block elements, group 1A elements means lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. These will be having high electropositive values we can say. So coming to here, in a group, so what happens? Electropositivity increases as size increases. Coming to in a period, what happens? In a period, electropositivity decreases. Why? Because size decreases. Okay. So this is nothing but in a group and period. So elements with low electronegativity metal and high electronegativity we call it as non-metal. So what we can say here? Low electronegativity is metal and high electronegativity we are going to have non-metal we can say. So here electropositive elements react with water, acids to give hydrogen, and also ions strongly electropositive alkali metals. Ions like NaCl, they are strongly electropositive alkali metals. They do not undergo hydrolysis, we can say. Okay, so this is nothing but electropositive elements. So what we can say here, electropositive elements react with water and acids to liberate hydrogen. Coming to ions of strongly electropositive alkali metals do not undergo hydrolysis, we can say. So means what here, when you react with water, electropositive elements, like for example I have been taken LiOH, so LiOH H2O, so automatically what happens, they liberate hydrogen. Okay, so like this it will react. So this is nothing but electropositivity. Now let us discuss about metallic character. Next one, metallic character. So coming to metallic character here, metallic character nature increases and non-metallic nature decreases. In your group, what happens here? Metallic nature increases and non-metallic nature decreases. Coming to period, here metallic nature decreases and non-metallic nature increases, we can say. So here the best metal is cesium, and the best non-metal is fluorine, we can say. Why? Because based upon their electronegativity, we can say, what we can say, the best metal is cesium and non-metal is fluorine. Okay, so metallic oxides generally basic and form alkaline solutions in water. Coming to non-metallic oxides are acidic and form acidic solutions in water. Oxides of metalloids are normally amphoteric, we can say. These are divided into three types: metallic oxides, non-metallic oxides, and also amphoteric oxides. So what will happen here? Metallic oxides are generally basic and form alkaline solution in water, we can say. Means group 2A elements, which is in S block elements. And coming to non-metallic oxides are generally acidic and form acidic solution in water. Okay, so oxides of metals, which will be show some both metallic and non-metallic character, there will be amphoteric solution. So this is nothing but periodic properties. So generally let us see one by one. So what happens here in a group and in period? First one, atomic radius. Next one, ionic radius. Next one, ionization energy. Electron gain enthalpy. Next one, electronegativity. valency, electropositivity, and metallic character. So these are the properties we have discussed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Total 8 properties we have discussed. So let us see in a group what happens and in a period what happens. Okay. So what happens in atomic radius? Coming to atomic radius, it increases. In a period decreases. So means what here? Atomic radius increases due to the increase in size. In a period it decreases due to nuclear interaction. In the same way, ionic radius also what happens? It increases in a group, it decreases in a period. Coming to ionization, what happens? It decreases in a group, it increases in a period. If you have been observed in the previous classes, so what happens here? In a group decreases from top to bottom. Why? Because it is increasing screening effect. It increases from left to right. Why? Because due to the atomic rate size is increasing. Coming to electronegativity also. Electronegativity also in a group decreases, in a period increases, and electron affinity also in a group decreases, in a period increases. So this is also decreases, it increases. Coming to here, it decreases, it increases. Coming to valency also, it decreases, it increases. Electropositivity in a group increases, in a period decreases. Coming to metallic character, in a group increases, in a period decreases. So if you have been observed here, atomic radii, ionic radii, electropositivity, metallic character is increasing and in a period it is decreasing. So why? Because of the linear group, due to the presence of atomic size and due to the presence of decrease in atomic size we can say, and also here due to the nuclear attractions we can say. So coming to ionization energy, electron gain, enthalpy, electronegativity, valency, this will decrease in a group, this will increase in a group, period. So this is nothing but properties we have been discussed, why it is increasing, why it is decreasing. So these are the 8 properties we have been discussed. Now let us see about next one, diagonal relationship. So what is diagonal relationship? So diagonal relationship is nothing but here an element of a group in the second period has similar properties with the second element of the next group in the third period. The third period we call it as is called what? Diagonal relationship. Means what here? So what I have told you, element of the group in the second period has similar properties with the second element of the next group in the third period, we call it as diagonal relationship here. For example, let us take the pairs lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. And coming to here, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Okay, so this is one group. Next one more thing I'm taking: boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. One more thing I'm taking: carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. We are taking, see here, totally which will be written in the horizontal, we call it as period. Yes or no? So what I have been told, the element of a group. So this is the element of the group. In a group, what happens? It is a second period. Similar properties with second element of the third. So this will be having similar properties, diagonal relationship. Coming to here, beryllium is having similar properties. Next one, this is having similar properties. So means what? The elements present in the group in the second period has similar properties with the next group in the third period. So means what here? These three are the periods. So this is one period, second period, third period. So coming to here, second period is having the similar properties with third period element, that is second one. The first element of the second period and the second element of the third period, which is having similar properties, that one we call it as diagonal relationship. Okay, so this is nothing but diagonal relationship. So here the reason for the diagonal relationship is, the diagonal relationship is due to what? The diagonal relationship is due to electronegativity, we can say. Similar electronegativity and polarizing power. Okay, so similar electronegativity. So this will be having some electronegativity values. This will be, so because of this reason the diagonal relationship is happened. So generally polarizing power is nothing but the ratio of the ionic radius, ionic charge, to the square of the ionic radius, we can say. This is nothing but polarizing power. So elements which exhibit diagonal relationship will have similar properties, we can say. So for example, oxides of Be and aluminium are amphoteric, and carbides of both Be and aluminium produce CH4 on hydrolysis also. So these are also methanoids, we can say. What we can say here? Oxides of Be and Al. We are discussing about these two properties. So are amphoteric. Amphoteric is nothing but here both acidic nature and basic character will be showing. And also here carbides. Carbides of both Be and Al produce CH4 on hydrolysis. And also, so what we can say, Be2C and Al4C3. So these, wherever the carbon is present, that one we call it as carbides. So these are called, what we can call here, methanoids. Methanoids. So this is nothing but what here, diagonal relationship, which is important for 2 marks question, we can say. So what is diagonal relationship? Element of a group in the second period has similar properties with second element of the next group in the third period. We call it as diagonal relationship. So this is the example. So here how it is causing diagonal, based upon the what diagonal relationship we are going to say, means similar properties of electronegativity and polarizing power. So here if you have been taken beryllium and aluminum property, these will exhibit both amphoteric and carbides. Carbides is nothing but Be2C, Al4C3. So these are called as methanoid. So this is nothing but properties by this second unit is completed. Thank you.